What do you think of when you think of Japan? Sushi, perhaps? Maybe manga, the comic books, the animations? Perhaps something not even safe for work? Perhaps fast cars, that entire culture of the 90s? Those are all valid, but for me, it's just one magic word. And that word is Ochanomziu. Located just two stops away from the iconic Tokyo Central Station, which is also a subway station, there is this place which is basically a guitar lover's paradise. It's an entire street full of guitar shops. It has been my favorite haunt for the last 7 years, or maybe six perhaps, but a very, very long time. And by now, I know that street like not like the bottom of my hand, but close enough. I have visceral thrills every time I get out of the station. I take a left, I get onto the main Ochanomziu road. I encounter Kurosawa on the left. I encounter Big Boss on the right. Guitar Planet on the right. You walk a little bit further ahead, there's Ishibashi Music. Then you walk even further ahead, there's Ishibashi's World's Finest Guitars. So this is going to be the first in the series of the guitars that I have bought from Japan over my years of working in Japan. Though I don't live in Japan right now, I did work half the time in Japan, so this is really based on that. And to kick it off, I could think of nothing better that encapsulated everything that I love about buying guitars in Japan. And this is really a very, very unusual guitar that I got in Japan. Usually the guitars that I get in Japan are of two types. Type number one is there's a website in Japan called Digimart, which basically has every guitar for sale in Japan. So you basically research the hell out of what you want and then you go to the shop and you get what you want. That's option number one. That's usually more organized. You feel a little bit better about it. And if you're like me, who's very pressed for time every time I'm in Japan, it's usually the preferred option. Option number two is when you don't know what you're looking for, or rather you just go and you look for stuff. Of course, that's more preferable, but it's also nerve-wracking. Also, it takes a lot of time. So I found myself in situation number two earlier this year. The reason for that was that, for good or bad reasons, there was nothing particular on Digimart that was tickling my fancy, or maybe I couldn't find something that I was looking for. So I thought I'm just going to take a gander. I had about 1 hour to spend in Ochanomziu. That's it before it closed down. So I did a speed run of the shop. So I literally ran out of the station. Firstly, I ran to Tokyo Station from my office. Then I ran over to Ochanomziu via the trains. I ran into Kurosawa, couldn't find anything I liked. Hopped over the road, went to Guitar Planet. I gave you the names earlier. I finally went down all the way to the Gibson custom showroom where they had a silver burst. As fate would have it, I would end up getting that silver burst. But today's story is not about that silver burst. It's about the guitar that I found when I walked into the Gibson, not the Gibson, but the Ishibashi, the regular Ishibashi, not the Gibson custom special shop, the regular Ishibashi shop on Ochanomziu. And when I walked in, I was looking around, and then I spotted on the wall this very unusual looking guitar. It was a Les Paul, a Gibson Les Paul, but it was obviously some crazy custom shop run, because firstly it had a quilt maple top, which was okay, in purple, which is not that normal, and it had a Floyd rose, which is really not that normal. Of course, you have the Les Paul accesses, and then to top it all off, it had a maple fretboard. And I looked at that guitar and I was like, what is that? I have never seen anything like it. Have they made a special run of the access with maple fretboards or something? It was impeccable. It looked amazing. It looked like nothing else. Purple may or may not be your color. I like purple guitars. But regardless of whether you like purple or not, it was a very distinctive guitar. So I asked the guy to bring it down. He brought it down. The tag on it wasn't very clear. Or actually, the tag on it was missing, if I remember correctly. But so I did not know what the guitar was. As I tried it out, it played like a good Gibson custom shop guitar. It was very well set up. It had an incredible sound. It had Seymour Duncans on it, which was unusual. I thought that Gibson only does Seymour Duncans on the Slash model, so I thought maybe this is again a special order or something, made to measure perhaps. That was my key hypothesis. So I played it and I really, really liked it. It was much brighter than a regular Les Paul, maybe because of the Seymour Duncan pickups, and it had something weird going on with the wiring. But it was a very nice guitar. So then I asked the guy, "What is that guitar?" And just to tell you where I was coming from, here is the guitar. I should have revealed it earlier. So here I was playing this thing, crazy maple top, incredible maple fretboard with binding, Floyd Rose, Seymour Duncan, zebra pickups, I think mother of pearl, inlays, gold Floyd Rose, just incredible guitar. And I was like, okay, what is this? And what does this cost? So he said, oh, it's a 1980. It's a 1980 Elite. So first, I thought I misheard him. I mean, I do spend a lot of time in Japan, but I'm still capable of misunderstanding. 1980 Elite? What is that? So he said, I asked him, so it's a 1980 reissue? Maybe there was a crazy, Floyd guitar from the 80s, though I think 80s sounded a bit early for me, but maybe there was something. Maybe Gibson had a run and maybe they reissued it or something. He said, no, it's a 1980 Elite, Heritage Elite. I again had no idea what this was. Then I asked him again and again. Finally, the dude, poor guy, he got his manager. And then the guy explained to me, and that guy had good English. He said, yes, this is not 1980, it's a 1981. It's a 1981 Heritage Elite, Gibson Les Paul Heritage Elite, that has been modified by a previous owner who was a musician. So I was like, what is that guitar? So, I was like, I don't know what it is, but I did not have much time. So I had a decision to make. Do I get this guitar or not? And for me, I love Les Pauls. I love tremolos, as you might know if you see my channel. And I love purple. So I thought, and it was not a small amount of money because it was a 1980 guitar, which was very clear to emphasize to me. It's a 1981. It's a 1981. It's a vintage. He was emphasized it to me, even though it's modified. And so it was not a small amount of money. I had a split moment to make a decision. I decided to get it because I just loved the spec of it, regardless of the originality. Then I got back to my hotel room and then began the process of discovery. What is this thing? So as it turns out, the Gibson Heritage series is Gibson's first attempt at reissuing or making something similar to 1959. I had no idea. So what this guitar is based on is Gibson's attempt to make a 1959 now. How did it get from there to here and what happened? Let's talk a little bit about that. So this guitar in 1980 and 81, they made two models, the Heritage and the Heritage Elite. So Elite was the more upscale model, which is what this was. And the difference between a Heritage and Heritage Elite was the Heritage was more similar to a regular 1959 in the sense that it had a flame maple top. It had a rosewood fretboard. But of course, quilt is greater than flame and ebony is greater than rosewood. So the Elite was with those upgraded options, even though it was trying to ape a 59 model. It was not really sticking to originality. It was trying to make it better, perhaps. So the Elite was similar to a 1959, but with a quilted maple top and a ebony fretboard. That is, and with a Heritage cherry sunburst, typical 1959 color. That's how this guitar started life as. The owner loved this guitar. I mean, I spoke a little bit to the guy, but he wanted to make some modifications to it. So he did three things, one or two of them normal, or I would say in increasing degrees of craziness, from normality to outright bonkers. Let's talk about the normal stuff. The two normal things he did. He swapped the pickups. Who doesn't swap their pickups? That's pretty normal. He resprayed the whole thing in nitro. And by the way, that was one of the other things that threw me off because I smelled the guitar. I have many Gibsons. It smelled like nitro. So I was like, okay, it's a custom shop. It wasn't something random. Right? That there's a very distinctive smell that you have, especially of Gibson nitro. This guitar kind of has that. So that was a little bit strange. That kind of was one of the things throwing me off. He resprayed it in this incredible purple, dark purple color. Okay, that's not entirely normal, but people do repaint their guitars. The third thing he did, which is less usual, is he got a damn Floyd Rose and he got the thing routed out. And if you look at it, there's paint underneath the route and the route is smooth as hell. I have seen craftsmanship on my PRSs, on my Gibsons. This is above Gibson level craftsmanship. Let me just give my very poor opinion, but it was incredible. This is the fit and finish, the quality, it's beyond anything Gibson does usually, my opinion. Perhaps the custom shop does it, but at least Gibson USA has an overclock. So there's that. So the third crazy thing, the craziest thing they did is put a gold Floyd Rose. But the fourth thing that they did, the fourth thing is the craziest thing that you can imagine. He replaced the fretboard. He took off the piece of ebony and put in a piece of maple. Not only that, he got the damn maple binded. So this is a maple fretboard with binding and mother of pearl, or whatever these are, but some sort of nice solid, these are not stickers, amazing, very beautiful, very three-dimensional inlays. So he basically inlaid, fretboarded the whole thing. It's crazy who does that. And because of that, maybe because of the maple fretboard, maybe because of the pickups, it's an incredibly bright guitar in a very good way. I A-B'd it versus my regular Gibson Bonner Bird, and it was, which is a more or less like a 57, 58 Les Paul with a Firebird headstock, but it sounds like a very good Les Paul. This thing's incredibly bright, in a good way, in a way that you would want something like a 59 to be, perhaps. And of course, I'm sure the Floyd also helps it become a bit brighter. So crazy. So if a guitar sums up my entire Japan guitar buying experience and what I love about Japan, which is that you have incredible selection of second-hand guitars. They are priced very, very competitively because in Japan, used is considered poorer than new, even though it's not. And then even though they modified it, it's not some monkey taking a wrench and doing something. It's a professional who did it better than the manufacturer. I don't know what can be better than this. So I'm just going to play it a little bit. I've been liking this guitar a lot. And I think you will see it on a few more future videos. Because of this guitar, I'm actually planning to sell my Alex Lifeson because I don't need the Alex Lifeson anymore. This guitar does it all. And because it's already been modified, now this becomes a wonderful template for me to do whatever I want. Two things that I plan to do. The pickups, I plan to put bare knuckles. I like bare knuckles, probably something like either a mule. I have a pair of gold mules lying around. That's the top prospect. Or if I want something a little bit higher output, perhaps something like an Aftermath or a Juggernaut in the bridge. And I may just get some nice wiring done so I can do my coil splits, etc., etc. So that's two things that I have in mind. But for now, just enjoying the guitar the way it is. All right, till next time.